So now let's move on to your next solution to your next problem. Okay, that is illustration 2. Now earlier you calculated, okay, a company has the following capital structure. Find out the weighted average cost of capital. They are asking you only to find out the weighted average cost of capital. Earlier they asked you to calculate the weighted average cost of capital. Here they are asking you to only find out the weighted average cost of capital. Now as per the particular question, this is the particular information which is given to you. That is securities. You have your book value along with the total and after tax cost. Okay, now let's move on to the solution of the particular problem. Now first take down your securities column. Securities is your equity, you have your retained earnings, you have your preference capital, and you have your debenture. Okay, what is the book value? Book value which is given to you is 10 lakhs, 4 lakhs, 4 lakhs, and 8 lakhs. Okay, now there's a slight mistake in the question. It is not 14%, it is 5%. Okay, now 8 lakhs. The total which is given to you is 26 lakhs. Okay, now based on which you will be finding out the proportion. That is the first column which you'll be finding out. That is proportion. That is firstly it is your column W. Okay, that is capital W. That is proportion. Okay, now how will you find out your proportion? Is 10 lakhs divided by 26 lakhs. Okay, that will give you 38. 4 lakh divided by 26 lakhs will give you 15. 4 lakh divided by 26 lakhs will give you 15 again, and 8 lakhs divided by 26 lakhs will give you 32. Now take the total of the following. That is 38 plus 15 plus 15 plus 32 will give you 100. Okay, so your W is 100. Now what is the next information in the question which is given to you? It is your after tax cost. Now your after tax cost is, after tax is your W, is your X. Okay, column X. That is 12%, 8%, 5%, and your 5%. Okay, now next you have to find out your weighted average cost. Okay, it is asking you to only find out your weighted average cost. Next column is your weighted average cost. This will be your product. Okay, product, that is your weighted average cost, that is your XW. Okay, now in order to find this out, this is in the form of percentage, so we will have to convert this. That is 12 divided by 100 will give you 0.12. Okay, 0.12. Then 8 divided by 100 will give you 0.08. 5 divided by 100 will give you 0.05, and 5 divided by 100 will give you 0.05. Okay, now after you've converted this from the percentage form, you will have to multiply these two columns. That is 38 into 0.12, that is 4.56. Okay, 15 into 0.08 is 1.2. 15 into 0.05, 0.75, and 32 into 0.05, that is 1.6. Take the total of this particular column. That is 4.56 plus 1.2 plus 0.75 plus 1.6. It will give you 8.11. Okay, it is giving you 8.11. So your weighted average cost is 8.11. This is the ultimate answer. You do not have to calculate your weighted average cost. You just have to find out what your weighted average cost is. Okay, as per the question. Now let's move on to your next illustration. In your next illustration, it says a firm has the following capital structure and after tax cost of different sources of the funds used. This is the sources of funds, amounts, and after tax cost. Okay, now sources of fund is debt. The amount is 15 lakhs and after tax cost is 5%. Preference share is 12 lakhs, 10%. Equity is 18 lakhs, 12%. Retained earnings is 15 lakh, 11%. The total is 60 lakhs. Now it says you are required to compute the weighted average cost of capital. It is asking you to compute the weighted average cost of capital, okay? The computation of the weighted average cost of capital. Okay, now let's begin with the solution. Take down your sources of funds as it is and the amount which is given to you as it is. That is the total along with the total. Now next you will have to find out your proportion. Now how will you find out your proportion? That is 15 lakhs divided by 60 lakhs, 12 lakh divided by 60 lakhs, 18 lakhs divided by 60 lakhs and 15 lakh divided by 60 lakhs in order to find out your proportion. Take the total of the proportion. Now take the after tax cost, that is 5, 10, 12 and 11. Okay, earlier when you have to find out only your weighted average cost, you had to convert the percentage by dividing it by 100. But here when you're calculating your weighted average, when you're not finding out but when you're calculating, you do not have to convert the percentage. So your proportion into your after tax cost will give you your product, that is 25 into 5, that is 125. Similarly, you will find out your product column, that is XW. Take the total and substitute in the formula, that is 960 divided by 100, which will give you 9.6. Okay, I hope this particular solution is clear to you all. Okay, moving on to your next illustration, you have illustration 5, which says a company has its own books in the following amounts and specific cost of each type of capital. The type of capital is given to you. Now there's something which is different in this particular problem. You have your book value also which is given to you. You have your market value also which is given to you, along with the specific cost percentage, okay, along with the total. The question continues by saying that, okay, it says determine the weighted average cost of capital using book value weights. So you have to calculate book value separately and market value separately. Book value weights and market value weights, how are they differing? Can you think of a situation where the weighted average cost of capital would be the same using either of the weights? Okay, calculate using as it is. Okay, now what is the weighted average cost of capital formula? It is weighted average cost of capital is equal to summation XW divided by summation W, right? So first take the book value and calculate, second take the market value and calculate. Okay, only the amounts will differ and the proportions you will have to calculate on basis of that and substitute in the particular formula. Similarly, you will get the percentage for both the problems. Okay, now for your book value, while you're calculating the computing the weighted average cost of capital, firstly you will be using your book values, that is your 4 lakhs, 1 lakh, 6 lakhs, 2 lakhs. Your total will be 13 lakhs, based on which you will find out the proportion to it, and taking into consideration your specific cost, you will multiply your proportion along with your specific cost in order to find out the product. Then take the totals and substitute in the formula. Similarly, for the next part, take the market values, take the same specific cost, multiply, find out and substitute in the particular formula. Okay, I hope it is clear to you all. Okay, so now let's move on to your next illustration, that is illustration number 6. Okay, very important problem. Okay, please note. Now illustration 6 says Kishan Limited wishes to raise additional finance of rupees 20 lakhs for meeting its investment plans. It has rupees 4,20,000 in the form of retained earnings available for the investment purposes. The following details are available. Okay, this is the details which has been available as per the question, that is debt or equity mix 30% and 70%. Okay, cost of debt up to 3 lakh, up to rupees 3 lakh 60,000, that is 10% before tax. Cost of debt beyond 3 lakh 60,000, that is 16% before tax. Now earning per share is 4. Okay, dividend payout is 50% of earnings. Expected growth rate of dividend is 10%. Current market price is 44. Tax rate is 50%. Very important problem. Okay, now what are they asking us to calculate? You are required to firstly determine the pattern for raising additional finance, determine the post-tax average cost of additional cost, to determine the cost of retained earnings and cost of equity, compute the overall weighted average after tax cost of additional finance. Okay, now all these 4 things you need to calculate, so based on the question which is given to you. So firstly they are asking you to determine the pattern for raising additional finance. Now look into the question carefully. What is the finance which is given? Now they are wishing to raise an additional finance of rupees 20 lakhs, right? And also they have given you retained earnings of 4,20,000. Now they have given you debt and equity mix of 70 and 30% and 70 percent. Now based on which you will be calculating. Okay, now firstly what are they asking you to calculate? First, what they're asking you to calculate, they're asking you to calculate the pattern for raising additional finance. Now the pattern for raising additional finance, you will be calculating the first part, that is, just a minute girls, I'm extremely sorry. Okay, first, pattern for raising additional finance. Now what is the pattern for raising additional finance? Look into the question carefully. The additional finance which is given to you all, additional finance is equal to 20 lakhs, correct? Okay, question, additional finance is 20 lakhs. So first, what is the first part which is given to you, that is debt and equity mix, okay, meeting its investment plan. So what are the investment plans? Is basically your debt and your equity mix. Okay, now debt is 30% and equity is 70%. Okay, so 30% of 20 lakhs. Okay, 20 lakhs into 30% is 6 lakhs. Okay, 20 lakhs into 70% is 14 lakhs. So the total is 6 lakhs plus 14 lakhs is 20 lakhs. Okay, now you found out the first thing. Okay, under which you will find out the pattern for financing with cost. You found out what was the pattern for raising the additional finance. This was the pattern. You took 30% from debt and you took 70% from equity. So 6 lakhs plus 14 lakhs, you got the additional finance of 20 lakhs. This was the pattern for raising. Now you need to find out the pattern for raising along with the cost. Okay, so under this you have your next part, that is pattern for raising with cost. Pattern of financing with cost. Okay, now pattern for financing with cost is firstly your sources. Your first source was debt. Your debt which is given to you in the question, that is 3,60,000, that is 10%. Okay, 3,60,000 of 10%. Okay, just a minute girls. Yeah, please write down amount and cost percentage. Okay, from debt, that is 3,60,000, that will be your 10%. Now next debt is, it says cost of debt of 3,60,000, 10% before tax. It is telling beyond 3,60,000, that is 16%. Now earlier you had 3,60,000. Now firstly, what was your debt? That was 30%, right? Earlier your debt was 30%. So 3 lakh. So your debt of your debt which is beyond 3,60,000 is nothing but, how you need to calculate this, 20 lakhs into 30%, which gave you 6 lakhs, right? Which gave you 6 lakhs. 6 lakhs minus 3,60,000. Okay, 6 lakhs minus 3,60,000 will give you 2,40,000. Now why are we doing this? Because it is telling us beyond. Okay, so your earlier total, that is 20 lakhs, on which you calculated your debt, that is 30%, which gave you 6 lakhs. 6 lakhs minus 3,60,000 will give you 2,40,000. On this 2,40,000 you have to calculate 16% of the cost. Okay, 16% of the cost. Now next, what was the source? You need to find out. Then it also says in the question, that is you are raising 4,20,000 in the form of retained earnings, right? So retained earnings, this was your first debt, second debt. Thirdly, you are calculating first debt, second debt, and thirdly you are calculating retained earnings. Okay, retained earning is given to you, that is 4,20,000. Okay, 4,20,000. So there is no percentage which is given to you here. There is no percentage which is given to you. That is 4,20,000. Okay, after 4,20,000 you will also be taking your equity. Okay, you will also be taking your equity. Why are you taking your equity? Because it is debt or Okay, now next, what is given to you in the question? You took your both the debts which is given, you took your equity, you took your retained earnings. Now next, which is left out as your equity. Now fourth part is your equity. These are the sources from which you're raising your funds. Okay, these are constituting your cost. Now in your equity, how you will get your equity is basically, earlier we calculated equity, that is from the total additional finance, that is 20 lakhs. We calculated 70% of equity, that is 14 lakhs, right? Now 14 lakhs minus your retained earnings. Okay, 14 lakhs minus your retained earning 4 lakh 20 will give you your equity. 14 lakh minus 4 lakh 20 will give you your equity, that is 9 lakh 80,000. Okay, now let's check the total, that is 3 lakh 60. All of this should come up to 20 lakhs. Okay, 3 lakh 60 plus 2 lakh 40 plus 4 lakh 20 plus 9 lakh 80 will give you 20 lakhs. We showed how we got additional finance in the form of costing, on the basis of costing, right? Now next part of calculation. This was the first part of your calculation, that is how you raised your additional finance and how you raised it based on various costing. Okay, now your next part of the question is your part B. It is asking you to determine the post-tax average cost of additional cost. Okay, post-tax average cost. Now post-tax average cost, earlier we had looked into how will you calculate your post-tax, what is the post-tax average, right? Now your part B of the solution is your calculation of post-tax average of additional debt. Now what is the formula? It is nothing but KD into 1 minus T. Okay, your KD into 1 minus T. Now how will you calculate only on the basis of debt? Okay, now earlier your debt was 30%, and it was your debt was given to you in the question, it was 30% and your 70%, which was a combination. Now here your debt is 10% and your 16%. Now look into this, how we've classified. Okay, so your first part, how you'll calculate your KD is equal to, that is 3 lakh 60 into 10% and 2 lakh 40 of 16%. Okay, 3 lakh 60 into 10%, that is 36,000, and 2 lakh 40 into 16%, that is 38,400. Take the total. Okay, 36,000 plus 38,400 is 74,400. Okay, you got your 74,400. Now how will you find out the cost of this? Now in order to find out the cost of this, after calculating the total, write down cost is equal to 74,400 divided by the total debt. Okay, your 30% of the debtors, that is on 20 lakhs, the additional you had calculated, right? That is, you had removed 30% from the debt, that is 6 lakhs. So 74,400 divided by 6 lakhs into 100. Okay, because we want it in the percentage form. 74,400 divided by 6 lakhs into 100 will give you 12.4%. Will give you 12.4%. So we found out the post average additional. Okay, now we need to substitute in the formula. Now in order to substitute this in the particular formula, KD into 1 minus T. Okay, KD into 1 minus T, because we are finding out your post average or cost of debt as per the particular question, right? So KD is your 12.4. Okay, 12.4 into 1 minus, now what is T? Let's check in the question what is the tax rate which is given. Tax rate is 50%. So 50%, so 50 divided by 100 will give you 50 divided by 100 will give you 0.5, right? This is your tax. Okay, minus 0.5. So 1 minus 0.5 into 12, sorry, 1 minus 0.5 into 12.4 will give you 6.2%. 6.2% is your post-tax average cost of debt. Cost of debt. Okay, post-tax average cost of debt is your 6.2%. Now we found out your second part of the question. Now your third part of the question is to find out the cost of retained earnings. Okay, retained earnings. Now what is the formula to find out the cost of retained earnings? Earlier we studied KE is equal to D1 divided by P naught in plus G. Okay, what is D? D is nothing but the dividend payout ratio, whereas this is the current market price as well as the growth rate. Okay, now in your particular question you have your dividend payout, that is 50% of the earnings. Now check if there is any per share amount which is given. Earlier here in the question the per share amount is given, that is per share is 4 and the dividend payout is 50%. So per share is rupees 4. On this you will be calculating 50%. So 4 into 50% is nothing but 2. Okay, that will be 2 per share. Okay, 2 per share. Now after you calculated your 2 per share, you also have to see what is your current market price. Your current market price is directly given to you in your question, that is 44. Okay, current market price, that is P naught, is 44. That is current market price. Now check for the growth. What is the growth which is given? Now expected growth of dividend is 10%. Now 10%, G is equal to 10%, that is nothing but 10 divided by 100 is equal to 10 divided by 100 is 0.1. Now substitute this in the formula, 0.10, okay, into 100. Okay, now substitute this in the formula, that is D1. As we found out, your D1 is 2.2. Okay, your D1, we have still more calculation to go. We have to find out your D1, that is D1 is 2 per share. We found out 2 per share into the percentage, that is into 10%, that is 2 into 10% will give you 0.2. Your D1 is 0.2 into 100 into 100. Okay, sorry girls, not 2 into 0 or 2 into 10%. It is D1 is 2 plus 10%. Okay, 2 plus 10%, that is 2.2. okay, see, 2 plus 10%, it is 2.2. okay, you've calculated your D1. Sorry, really sorry about that girls. Now substitute this in the particular formula, that is 2.2 divided by 44 plus 0.10. okay, 0.10. 2.2 divided by 44 will give you 0.05 plus 0.10. 0.10. So 0.05 plus 0.10 will give you 0.15 or 15%. Okay, so we solved your third part of the question also, wherein we calculated your cost of retained earnings. Really sorry about D1, we forgot to calculate it earlier. After you've got 2 per share, you even have to add it with the percentage percentage of the dividend payout which is given to you, that is plus 10%. okay, as per the question. Now your last part of the question says, now your last part of the question is asking you to compute the overall weighted average after tax of the additional finance. You need to compute the overall weighted average. Now in order to calculate your weighted average cost of capital, okay, so your last step is to calculate your weighted average cost of capital. Now in your weighted average cost of capital, your first thing you will see is your sources from where you are raising your funds. So as we saw earlier, you had your debt, you had your retained earnings, and you had your equity, right, which was given to you in the question. You had your debt, you had your retained earnings, and you had your equity, correct? So firstly you will take down your debt, your retained earnings, and your equity. Okay, what was the debt amount? It was 6 lakhs. Okay, it was 6 lakhs because debt was 30% on 20 lakhs, that is the additional retained earnings. So you will take your 6 lakhs. Next retained earning was given to you in the question. It was 4,20,000 and your equity was 9,80,000 based on the calculation. So take the total, your total will come up to 20 lakhs. Okay, now next find out your proportion. Okay, next find out your proportion, that is 6 lakhs divided by 20 lakhs, which will give you 30%. Okay, your 4 lakh 20 divided by 20 lakhs, which will give you 21, and 9 lakh 80 divided by 20 lakhs, that will give you 49%. Okay, this will come up to 100. Your proportion, take the total, that is 30 plus 21 plus 49 will come up to 100. Now you will take your after tax cost. Okay, after tax cost. Now under your after tax cost, check for what you calculated in your cost of debt. You calculated that was 6, that is your after tax debt. Okay, what was the percentage you calculated? See, post average cost, that was 6.2% we calculated, right? Now take down the percentage here, it is 6.2%. Now for the retained earnings, what was the percentage we found out? Your retained earnings, you calculated your retained earnings on which you got 15%, right? You got 15% for your retained earnings. Okay, next is 15%, and lastly your equity will also be 15% of your retained earnings. Okay, now you need to find out your product, that is your WACC. Okay, multiply 30 into 6.2. okay, 30 into 6.2, that will give you. Okay, now as it is in the percentage form, you need to convert it. Okay, now 30%, you got 30%, so 30 divided by 100, that is 0.3 into 6.2, that is 1.86. okay, 21 divided by 100 into 15, that is 3.15. 49 divided by 100 into 15 is 7.35. The total 1.86 plus 3.15 plus 7.35 will give you 12.36. okay, this is the final solution. WACC also we found out, that is 12.36. okay, that is it. I hope this solution is very clear to you all. This is a very important problem. It will be asked in your question. Please go through it thoroughly. Thank you.